Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Steven Inks, and today we're going to be talking about a fountain pen made by a company that doesn't normally make fountain pens. This is the Etchr Labs fountain pen set. It's a set of two I received recently. If you recognize this logo, this is the company that makes the watercolor postcards that I use to make my postcards that I mail out to you guys every once in a while, and I really like those postcards. So when I learned that they were making a set of fountain pens, I figured it probably wouldn't be the sort of thing that other fountain pen YouTubers would pick up. So I thought I'd try them. They are a bit pricey. And at that price, are they worth it? Well, let's get into it. Right, so here's the box as it came. It was shrink wrapped in plastic and then placed in a bubble mailer. One of the good things though was that international shipping at the time that I purchased this pen set was free. So take a look at what the packaging looks like. We've got the Etchr Lab logo. I really like that logo. Little llama, little drawing of a llama. And it says premium fountain pens, and it mentions the two pens that come in this set. The box of course has the logo here. It's a nice little box, little diagram on the back. There's a sticker here. I'm kind of curious what that's covering. Something in the specifications of the pen has changed since they designed the box or something. It's kind of weird. Yeah, a hashtag where you can share art that you make. Oh, there's the name of the artist as well for this little guy, I'm assuming. So let's open it up and see what's inside. I do like this box, but I'm getting to the point where I'm starting to wonder if it's a good thing when a fountain pen comes in a nice box, because I don't typically keep my pens in boxes. But I'm tempted to keep all the boxes, and so I have all these empty boxes in my house, and I don't know, I guess I could do something with them, but it just seems wasteful to throw them out and wasteful to keep them since I don't use them. Anyway, let's have a look at these pens. And here they are. All right, the little pull string is a nice little touch. Come wrapped in plastic. Let's take that out and get a look at them. I really like the matte finish. That's something that I'm gonna say outright. I don't think there's a lot of fountain pens that have a matte finish, and maybe I'm wrong about that. You can let me know if you have a comment about a really great pen with a matte finish, but this looks really pretty and it looks like something kind of special. So you should look up close. You can see they've got the Etchr logo here on the clip. Clip seems decent. It's also stamped here. And there's this. Looking at it up close, for some reason this just kind of looks to me like something that's gonna rub right off as far as the printing here. I guess down in the, you can see that where it says lab, it looks like it's a little bit worn on the printing already, which is kind of weird. Little spirally finial. This is a piston filler, as you can see, the semi-translucent area. Full disclosure, I did look at these before just to get a feel for them, and I'm glad I did because I had to learn a trick here. If you just twist this without doing anything else, you'll actually pull the back end of the pen out. And we're going to do a deconstruction of these pens in a little bit. But what you're supposed to do here is actually pull it out, which is a feature on the Wingsung 3008, which is a feature that I really liked that kind of set it apart from the Twsbi Eco, which of course, just like this pen, the 3008 is going to be compared to the Eco because the Eco is like the world's favorite piston filler. That's just my opinion, and it's the opinion of a lot of people on this channel. So, you know, if you got a pen you like better than that, don't get mad at me. So yeah, it looks like, okay, there's little arrows on the bottom that I guess they show you where it's supposed to line up. That's useful. Let's open it up and see. Okay, here's the first thing that I'm not so excited about. this beautiful matte finish, this sort of cloudy, crystally finish, and then the part where your finger holds the pen is clear plastic. Why? That makes no sense that you're going to go all the way in with this aesthetic that looks gorgeous, by the way. I really like this. It feels good, it looks good, and I think it's kind of unique. And then the part that you touch the most is not this. Why would you do that? All right, also I have to note and I have to point out that the underside of this feed looks really familiar. It looks like a Wing Sung pen with the little striations as well, the clear feed. And this nib actually looks like the 3008 nib, so that's not points towards it. I like the stamping. There's that logo again. This is the fine. And let's see if we pull it out. Okay, another thing that's kind of cool here is that this end of the feed is quite thicker than the 3008 or the Twsbi Eco, which means that this hole here is thicker that leads into the body of the pen. That should make it easier to clean. So I do like that. Here's the fine nib. And we're gonna pull apart the body of this extra fine in ivory. And again, this is that matte feeling. This printing looks a little bit better than the one on the translucent. But okay. Oh, and there's an ink window here, which is great because this is completely opaque. So it's kind of, I feel like I've seen this design somewhere before too, maybe on a Chinese pen. Someone will have to let me know in the comments if you know what I'm talking about, but I feel like I've seen that before. Once again, there's that feed that looks suspiciously like a cheaper Chinese pen, of which I know. Not that I'm against Chinese pens, but if you're going to charge a lot of money for one, I don't know. All right. So just a quick check if you prefer one finish over the other, but like me, you like a specific type of nib. Let's just see if these nibs are interchangeable. Do they fit on each other? That's it. Oh, right here. Interesting. It doesn't look like they do, which is weird. Why wouldn't they? Huh. Oh, wait a minute. Am I just not? I don't know. I'm gonna try the other one. Okay, let's see. Does this one fit? Oh, this one does. Okay, so this, oh no, this is the EF that goes with, oh no, right. So the EF does fit. This was the fine. Very strange. I'm finding that these nibs don't seem like this one fits really nicely on that one. And this one, okay, it's this nib is weird. The fine is kind of weird. It seems to fit nicely. This extra fine seems to fit nicely on both of them, like perfectly. And then the fine is a little wobbly, which doesn't bode well for the build quality of these pens, unfortunately. I'm not too happy about that. Okay, well, we'll come back to that later. In the meantime, like I said, if you don't pull this stopper up and you just twist out, the pen comes back here, and this is the piston. And if we pull on it, gently but firmly, it comes out, and you can see that it goes all the way through to the end. So this is good for cleaning. That's a good thing. There's definitely some lubricant, I think, on here. Could probably use some lube. All right, well, if I look at everything here, And I'm not going to do this for both pens because I think doing it for one is probably good enough. I would say this thing right here, this little piston stopper thing, looks like it's made out of plastic, which is, again, for the price of the pens, it feels like that's a little bit of a cheap move. And I'm expecting something high quality, so I'm kind of a little disappointed that there are certain, looks like a couple of cost-cutting measures in the design and build of this pen that make me wonder if it's really any better than some of the alternatives out there that are more cost-effective. Alternatives like the Wingsung 3008, and even the Twsbi Eco is slightly cheaper than this one. So that's not, I don't like having to say that about a pen I just bought, but there you go. We will see if these pens perform well when we get them filled up with ink. All right, today's ink is going to be Noodler's Bulletproof Black. No reason in particular, I just feel like using black ink right now. I've obviously, as you can see, used quite a bit of this ink. One of the first bottles I bought when I first got into fountain pens several years ago, and I still have quite a lot left. So looking forward to this. I have a feeling that these pens are going to hold a lot of ink. I certainly hope that they do. So let's see what we can get out of it. All right, I can see it filling up in the ink window. And we're gonna just have to let it be, whoops, as good as we can get, because I'm not gonna be able to really put a lot of, there we go, a lot of attention into how full is it with the ink window only being up to the edge there. I'm gonna blot that off, and let's do the other one. I'm gonna fill them both right now, and I'm gonna test them both. Ooh, got some ink on that matte white finish. Hopefully it brushes right off. Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to look at that and see. That looks like it might have even stained right out the box first time using it. Fantastic. This is not looking good for our hero. All right, let's see. And this one, yeah, it's a pretty good fill. Throw a little blot off. All right, there we go. And, ooh, okay, let me just get that a little bit. I think I overfilled it. These things don't line up exactly where you think they are, so maybe you want to do that before pulling it away from the bottle, that last bit where you push down that button. Okay, that one looks nice. I am ready to play around. All right, we're back to try some practice lines. Update on my pen, the white one that got stained with ink. You can actually still see a couple of marks here. I scrubbed it for a good long amount of time and it did not come off easy. So I'm already a little bit disappointed that the people who make this pen, which, by the way, you might have seen this when I was looking at it before, but let's see if I can find it. Yeah, here it is. Made in China. So some of the suspicions I had about the designs of certain things like the feed and how similar this mechanism is to the 3008 might be a hint of something, but it does seem like this texture was decided upon without thinking about what ink would do to it. So that's disappointing. We're going to start with this pen, which is the extra fine. So I'm guessing this will be like a Western extra fine. I'm wondering if that feed design will have anything to do with it, but let's put it down over here. Okay, this is a pretty thin line, which I do like a good thin line. It's got a little bit of bend to the nib, which is always nice. So if I do some scribbly lines, the feed does feel a little bit slow, like it's struggling to keep up. Hopefully that's all in my head. This particular paper, this is Strathmore 500 mixed media paper, which was supposed to be for paints, but I find it really nice for pen and ink, although it is kind of thirsty paper, so sometimes that can be an issue. Let's just see what we can do drawing with it. If I take this, I'm going to draw a little pyramid, a little circle, see what kind of lines we can get. You can get some really nice thin yeah, so there's some thin hatching, which is good. That's I would like that. It feels a bit dry for my taste, which is something that I would rarely say because I really like a nice dry pen. Like my platinum nibs that are on the dry side are some of my favorite for drawing, but this one might actually have gone a little bit too dry for my tastes. And it's a feedbacky nib, which is not a lot of people's preferences when it comes to nibs. You know, some people don't mind a little feedback. I don't, but again, I wonder if I am a little bit, if it's even a little bit too feedbacky for me, someone who enjoys a little feedback. I'm gonna try something in a little bit, but basically that's the extra fine. Let's go over to the fine, which is this one right here. So there's our fine nib, little llama there. Okay, this is more like it. I like this line a little bit better, and maybe that's just a change in my personal feelings about nibs. Is I used to want the finest possible nib I could get. Is one of the reasons I love my Pilot Kakuno, my Platinum Preppy, and my Platinum 3776 Soft Fine. I still do like those pens a lot, but I appreciate the charm of a bit of a wider nib. And one of those things is the smoothness of the nib and the ability to put down lines without worrying about the nib drying up on you. So of the two, I'm surprised by this because I usually prefer an extra fine nib. I'm kind of more partial to this fine. But I'm going to do something in a little bit just to check and see if what I have here is an accurate depiction of what's going on or if my paper is messing me up, because I haven't had any trouble with this using just about any of my pens on this Strathmore paper, but it is, like I said, it's kind of a thirsty paper, so maybe there's something about this that could use a different kind of paper. And I've got the good old trusty this is my Tomoe River, a favorite in the fountain pen community. I've said mean things about it, but I also like it. So it's a relationship of mixed feelings. Very slick, and you do get thicker lines with it. So if you have a pen that's almost too wide for your liking, Tomoe River paper, or other coated types of paper like the Clairefontaine or the Rhodia, I think the Rhodia uses Clairefontaine, can make those lines look a little bit thicker. In this case, okay, I do like the smoothness, but it's still, as an extra fine For a Western extra fine, that is extra fine. So I'm going to say no complaints there. Let me draw a little something. I'll draw a bear, like a little cartoon bear. I definitely don't hate this, but I do wonder, and I have questions. I have so many questions about this pen as far as its value. What I paid for it was $80 US for the 2-pack. And if you break that down to a per pen cost, we're talking about $40 a pen, which isn't terrible, but keep in mind that I didn't necessarily want to buy 2 different pens. I kind of just wanted to buy one of these to see if I liked it, and I'm having some issues. So I'm not 100% convinced that I do like it. And here we are with 2 pens that I'm not 100% on. So compared to something like the 3008 or the Twsbi Eco, both of which pens I have reviewed on this site, I'm a little more enthusiastic from the get-go about recommending those, and those are both pens that are cheaper. The Eco, again on a pen-by-pen basis, not much cheaper, but it is to some degree a less expensive pen, and I'm not sure. Maybe I will become more accustomed as I draw with these a little more and I do a drawing sample. Maybe I'll see what the value is on this particular pen that makes it worth more than those pens, but it's starting to feel like it does a lot of the same things, so I don't know. Let me just give you guys some art advice and then we'll go. I do like this fine a little bit better. So art advice. I'm just sort of making this one up because I didn't think of anything when I started the record button. But here's something that I think is important. Spend time on things you're good at. That's something that you don't hear from a lot of those, like, I guess they call them type A, like motivated people. I'm not a very motivated person. I don't know if you've noticed, but they always say, oh, work on your weaknesses, improve your weaknesses, make your overall game stronger. But I think, and I've learned this to be true with myself, as much as it's good to build those skills that you don't have, it's nice to become even more excellent at the skills you do have. For me, I never was very good at the human form. I do practice it. I am studying, reading some books, taking some classes, that sort of thing. But what I liked doing was animals. I liked doing kind of cartoony expressions. And sometimes I liked designing things that are made of funky shapes, like houses that are weird looking, machines, funny looking robots, things like that. And those are all things that I've drawn on this channel. So I just continued to work on stuff that I was good at, as opposed to just focusing on my weaknesses, and it helps me enjoy my art. And I'm going to take something that I'm good at and make some art with these 2 pens. Stay tuned. Okay, so I'm going to be honest with you guys. This may possibly be the worst experience I've had with a fountain pen. And part of that has to do with how much I paid for it, but the other part has a lot to do with consistency. I want to apologize first of all if this is kind of a crappy drawing. I just couldn't spend any more time than I did using these pens. One of the first issues that came up was was kind of previewed earlier on. As I'm editing, I kind of realized that the fine nib didn't seat properly in the feed. There was problems with that when I was trying to pull it apart and take it and put it back together, and that's definitely an issue here. And when I start using the pens, as you'll see, try to do a combination, the fine, the extra fine, and then extra fine plus fine, the two combined in the third drawing. And whenever I'm using that fine, I basically have to have a rag out to stop the burping and leaking that's happening with the pens. And one time while I was using this pen, just carrying it back and forth with me to work, it exploded on me, and I do have a picture of that. And it did this about, I want to say 2 or 3 times, so you could see me blotting it off. And then another time it did the extra fine did that once as well, which I don't have a picture of that. But then the extra fine texture has that other issue, and you can see from the screenshot from earlier in the video that black ink smudged on the side, which is something that happens when you're filling a pen up, you know. But the fact that I couldn't clean it off barely at all, and that texture effectively collects black marks really easily. So that's not good for a pen that might be using black ink often, and black ink is what I use most often in my pens. And I'm pretty sure another colored ink like a red ink or a blue ink would probably do the same thing. So that is a huge issue. And I reached out to Etchr Labs and sent them an email. I wanted to do my due diligence and my homework. Maybe I got a bad pen, and told them these are the specific issues that are happening for me with this pen. The leaking and the burping and the fact that I can't clean the texture. And they responded with basically some fountain pen care tips, like don't drop your pen, which I had told them that I review pens as a hobby here on this channel. So I kind of hope they get the hint that I was trying to review this pen and maybe give me a better response than that. I don't need tips on how to take care of a fountain pen. And I also don't need, I understand what the issue is. The issue is the pen, it's not me. And so I emailed them back and I told them as much, like, this is not my fault. I did not do anything to these pens. I have not dropped them. I have kept them clean. I know how to manage a pen. And their response back was basically, we've received a lot of feedback about these pens, and we're gonna try and do something about it. What I took that to mean is that there are a lot of people that are very unhappy with these pens, and they're saying received a lot of feedback. Okay. Points for being honest about that, to be fair, but it's just not, these pens don't work. Like, why are they selling them? They don't work. They continue to sell them. You could see promotions on their Instagram and on their Facebook, and on their website. There's still featured products. If they know that there's an issue, and they seemed to know that there was an issue with the texture of the pens as well, that it didn't clean up very easily, just based on my emails with them. So they know this, and they still keep doing it. Why are they doing this? It's really disappointing because I have used their products, and their paper products are still very good. And they make a line of fine liner markers, kind of like Pigment Microns, that I'm told are quite good. So there are products they make that are good, but then if this is their philosophy as a company to make a product that is subpar at best and just almost an outright con, for the amount of money that I paid for it, then I'm just very disappointed in this company. And there's another thing that I might have a little bit of time to talk about that I kind of don't feel good about for them as a whole company. They were recently running a contest on their social media saying, hey, draw our logo, our llama, and we'll give the top whatever 5-10 people, I can't remember how many it was, $100, which is an insulting amount of money to pay an artist, especially when you consider that what they were doing with that, and they did say this on the website, is that they were going to make a set of stickers to send off with a number of people. It was a limited run, like I think 300 people who bought their products. But the thing that pisses me off about that, and maybe this isn't as obvious as someone who doesn't do any art work, is that you are basically asking an artist to make work for you for free, and maybe you'll give them $100. And it wasn't even $100, it was a $100 coupon for their store. So their comment was basically, design a sticker for us, we will use it as part of the promotion for our products, and we will give you money to spend on our products. That is insulting, and those kinds of contests actually end up destroying the illustration industry. And these poor people who participated in it, I'm not blaming them, because they're probably just a step or two below being professional artists, where they could actually make some money off of what they're doing. And when these contests exist, what happens is that companies that should be paying artists to give them products that they can use are actually able to pick and choose from many artists, and those that they don't like what they create, they don't pay, but those people worked just as hard. So it's like being hired to work for free, and you only pay the people who create the product that you like, which is not how it should work in illustration. I've had commissions and groups of people that have wanted to hire me before, and I had to create multiple versions of what it was that I was doing, because maybe they didn't like it and they wanted me to revise, but then those people paid me for the work that I did. So I'm kind of annoyed with Etchr Labs about that, and I'm definitely annoyed about how this pen works, because it doesn't. So thank you for listening to my rant. I hope it was helpful to you, and yeah, I am thoroughly disappointed by these pens. At their price point, there's much better options available. I've got one recommendation for you. Don't buy these pens. They are a mess. They're not ready to be shipped out. I'm a little disappointed that Etchr even bothered to launch this product with all these problems. I do appreciate the small amount of honesty I got from their customer service department when I emailed them, but the very fact that they continue to promote these pens and put them out makes me pretty disappointed. And the experience that I had was pretty terrible. These pens do not work well. For the price that you could pay, I would recommend a much more affordable pen. Even the Twsbi Eco would be fantastic. About 2 of those would cost about the same as this pen. And then an even cheaper option is the Wingsung 3008, which I mentioned, I believe, in the beginning of this video, that the design looks somewhat similar, and the pen is made in China. So overall, this has been a disappointing fountain pen purchase. I would love to have just flipped a time machine and purchased something else. So if you're interested in these pens, I do recommend that you look somewhere else. And I'm going to be putting links to recommendations in the comment section, in the description section of the video, as opposed to the link to buy this pen, because I don't think that you should purchase it. And hopefully Etchr Labs will come up with a replacement soon, or they'll fix their issues so that it can be better. That being said, thank you all for watching, listening today, and please, if you do feel inclined to see more of my work, please subscribe to my channel, leave a like, a comment below. I love to hear from you guys, and I don't know, let me know the worst fountain pen you ever bought. Let's gossip in the comments. All right, have a great day, everybody, and be well.